Sao Tome is known for two things: dramatic coastlines and world-class cacao. In part one of this series, we picked up a car and drove the island's northern coast, stopping along rugged stretches of shoreline shaped by volcanic rock. The road eventually led us inland, where we got a behind-the-scenes look at the cacao factory and followed the process that turns raw beans into Sao Tome's famous chocolate. This is part one of our time on the island, and here's how it went.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to Sao Tome and Príncipe. We are on day 46 of our expedition up the west coast of Africa, and if you've been following the channel at all, you know we've been driving in the big yellow truck up the coast here. But Sao Tome and Príncipe are a series of two small islands in the Bay of Guinea off the west coast of Africa here. So we're taking a couple weeks off the truck just to check out a couple of these islands. And yeah, I'm excited to be here in Sao Tome. This is a place I've been very excited and curious about for such a long time. And Sao Tome is the second smallest country in Africa after the Seychelles, and it's home to only like 230,000 people. But I've been very excited to come here because you have some very unique mountain landscapes and like these giant rock pillars in the south, and that's like really drawn my attention. But Sao Tome was also a completely uninhabited island until the late 1400s when the Portuguese found it, and then they turned this into a plantation island. They brought a lot of slaves over from West Africa, and it began with a lot of sugar plantations throughout the island here, but then eventually switched over to cocoa and coffee. So we have a lot of like old ruins of coffee and cocoa plantations on the island here as well, which I'm pretty excited to explore. And yeah, I think one of the best ways to explore Sao Tome here is going to be renting a car. And so I'm renting a car with my friend Sam here. But on our first couple days here, we're actually gonna head to the northern coast of the island, check out some of like the beautiful beaches and coves there. And as we're driving, I think there's gonna be a few abandoned plantations that we can check out. And I think there's some plantations that are still working. I know there's a coffee plantation on the interior, and then today I'm thinking that there might be a cocoa plantation that we can check out. So anyways, yeah, excited to take you guys along exploring this tiny little island in West Africa. So we're gonna pick up our car rental now and start our exploration of Sao Tome. We have just secured our car rental here. It's about 45 euros per day, and we have this cute little gold Jeep Jimny that we're gonna be driving around the island of Sao Tome. So yeah, we're gonna jump in the car here and we're gonna just head north. We're gonna check out some of the beautiful coast and beaches of the northern part of Sao Tome. So yeah, let's jump in the car and start our road trip. We have just driven about half an hour through these winding little villages and rolling hills of Sao Tome to the north shore. And one of the first stops that you come to, like right as soon as you hit the coast, is Lagao Azul, this like little bay where this little peninsula just kind of wraps around this bright blue water. And it looks like there's a lighthouse up on top of the hill here. So nice little place to go for a swim. And I think I'm just gonna enjoy the black rocky beach here and then eventually go for a hike up to the lighthouse and get some views from up there. It was only like a 1-minute hike up to the top of this peninsula here, and I'm right beneath the red and white lighthouse that comes out to the point here. And from here you just have this incredible view looking down. You don't really see the blue lagoon as much, but around on the other side of the peninsula, as we saw from the drone, there's this other little cove that just has really blue water. You have these black rocks that the waves are crashing against, and then from up here you can just see the whole coastline of Sao Tome, the northern shore here, and then you can also look back on the coast a little bit that way, but just the stunning blue water. It's just so deep and so rich from up here. And then, yeah, you just have that very verdant green coastline that goes along the edge there. So yeah, anyways, we're gonna head back to the car and we're gonna work our way driving along the scraggly coastline of the northern shore of Sao Tome. So one of the best parts about renting a car here, going our own pace, is we can stop wherever we want. We were just driving by, there's another black rocky beach here that just has a bunch of these wooden dugout boats here. We're not even like near a village. I'm not even sure what this is or whose boats these are, because we're in between where we were and the next village of Neves. But yeah, these cool old dugout pirogues just along this rocky beach. We have just driven about 6 or 7 miles down that coastal road, stopping at that beach there, and then there was that one little pier that was ruined out into the water. Just these interesting little towns that we've driven through, and we've made it to the village of Neves, and here there's a famous restaurant called Santola where they do some famous crabs, which we're gonna try, and some fish food here in this little coastal village along the northern coast of Sao Tome. Just had our lunch here at the very local spot of Santola, but you get a lot of tourists. It's like the restaurant here in town. And again, if you like crabs, this would be the place to get some crabs. We got some amazing swordfish, which was really good. So anyways, we're gonna continue our way along the north coast of the island here. We have about 6-mile drive until we hit a chocolate farm, a cacao farm. So yeah, let's jump back in the car and keep driving along the coast. We have just driven about 15 minutes from our lunch spot here, and we have come up to the Diogo Vaz, which is a cacao farm. And the Sao Tome and Príncipe Islands, they were major cocoa producers in the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s during the Portuguese rule. And so you have a few of these remaining colonial farms, and this is one of them that's still functioning as a cacao farm. And here you can go on a little tour where they're going to show us how they go from the bean to the bar with the chocolate farms, the cacao trees, and then we'll get to have a little tasting afterwards. So it's about €10 to do the tour. So we're gonna go on a little tour and see how the cacao is made and then processed into the chocolate that we're eating. The first part of the tour here is a little bit of the nursery. So they plant the cacao beans in these little bags of dirt here, and then it takes about 15 days for them to break free of the dirt, and then about 6 months to grow into these larger plants, which will then be transplanted into the field and the plantation to grow into cacao trees. We've just come down the hill from the nursery a little bit here, and we've come to one of the cacao trees here. And he says this tree is about 20 years old, and it's really big. And as you can see, there's tons of these cacao pods here. They're like this reddish, purplish color, and they're just like growing all over the tree. They'll just stem right off the branches, and yeah, so pretty amazing to just see the cacao growing right off the tree here. Our guide has just found us one of these cacao pods, and he just smashed it open on the side of the road. And on the inside, you actually have this nice white fruit, which is actually very sweet, which is around the pods here. So anyways, yeah, we're trying some of the cacao fruit, and now we're gonna head down to the factory and see how they turn this pod into the chocolate bars that we eat. Our guide has just taken us down to the cacao factory here, and we have a bunch of husks of the cacao pod here, and this is where they'll chop open the cacao. They'll take those fruits that we saw on the inside and they ferment them, which is the first step of turning the bean into a chocolate bar. So anyways, now we're gonna head in and learn more about the process. From that place where they were opening up the cacao pods here, we've come to this fermenting room, and we have all of these wooden basins where they'll put the cacao beans and they cover it with banana leaves and sacks, and they ferment in here for 6 days before being taken out to the drying racks outside. We've come out behind that fermenting room here, and there's a bunch of these drying racks where the beans are put out and dried and raked under the sun. And we are trying one of the beans here. We peeled off the shell, and we can eat just a little bit of the bean itself, which is just like pure dark cacao and very bitter. So let's try it. That was fascinating to see the factory here at Diego Vaz and seeing how they husk the pod there and then take those beans out, then ferment the beans. And I honestly didn't even know there was a fermentation process in the chocolate bean process there. And then they dry them out in there in the sun, and we were able to see a lot of the beans that were out there drying. And then they had an oven too, and then they showed us what the final product is once they're all in the bags, ready to be shipped off to France or Europe or wherever the end destination is for the cocoa beans. So yeah, anyways, I think we're gonna head back up to where we started the tour, and they have a little shop there, and we get to sample some of the chocolate that's grown right here on this farm and some coffee. So yeah, let's head up and try some of the chocolate that we just saw grown here. So after our little tour of the factory and seeing a little bit of the cacao plantation here, we went into the little greeting area there, and they gave us some coffee and some of the cocoa that is grown on this farm, which was really cool to be able to see how the bean started as a plant and then went into the plantations, and then see the factory and then get to try the chocolate that was grown here. So anyways, it's starting to rain a little bit. Let's continue on driving and see the rest of the North Shore. From the Diego Vaz Cacao farm, we have driven back down the hill and along the northern coast. We drove through one of the only tunnels on the island, and we've continued all the way along the north shore to Playa Santa Catarina, which is one of the last villages, and the road just ends right after that last village here. And unfortunately, the road doesn't go all the way around the island. So when you're going on the northern route here, this is about the last place you can go. And then on a different trip, we're gonna do a more southern route of the island. We're gonna basically drive every road here in Sao Tome, but you can only do the north shore and then head back, and then we'll do a separate road trip to do the southern shore there. But it's just been a beautiful drive along the coastline. You have all of these palm trees lining the roads. You have these black sand beaches, the waves just crashing against the edge of the road here. You have a couple waterfalls that are trickling down alongside the road, and it's just been a beautiful road trip. You're going through a couple of these little villages along the way, just seeing some of the local life of Sao Tome. It's been amazing. So yeah, anyways, that's about it for our first day doing the north coast here. We're gonna drive back. It's probably about an hour and 15 minutes to drive all the way back to the city from here. We'll make it back in town just in time for the sunset. Yeah, anyways, tomorrow we're gonna have the car again, and we're hoping to go inland a little bit up to Monte Cafe, see a coffee plantation and a waterfall, and just explore a little bit more of the interior of Sao Tome here. We'll see you guys tomorrow when we explore more of the island of Sao Tome.